Today we're gonna talk about IShowSpeed's recent IRL stream going a bit further off the rails than probably planned. Julian Assange is set to make a deal that will finally see the man walking free, and the Supreme Court has decided to weigh in on whether or not states can ban transgender medical treatments for minors. All in this, randomly on a Tuesday, episode of... But before we start, hit that subscribe button so you're always up to date with the world around you. Well, some of it, anyways. Yeah, Alice, just start with the Speed story.
IShowSpeed found himself in a bit of a situation during a live stream in Amsterdam. Speed, who has over 25 million subscribers, was mobbed by a crowd of fans, leading to a series of intense events that involved police intervention.
Well, what started out as a typical IRL stream, well, as typical as you can get for having so many followers anyways, quickly spiraled out of control as hordes of fans swarmed the streamer throughout the city. The venture started souring when eager followers attempted to open the trunk of Speed's moving vehicle, nearly forcing him to end the broadcast prematurely. The mayhem picked up again at a local carnival where Speed lost his shoe on a ride. Fans scrambled to retrieve it, much to the streamer's, let's go with frustration? But let's asterisk that one. Anyway, he can be heard yelling, "No! They stealing my shoe!" Okay, so back to that asterisk real quick. His shoes were barely on right there. Like, I think he was taking it off, which, why would you do that? Those people weren't trying to catch his shoe. They were trying to get it to the face, you know what I mean? I promise his lawyers all shit themselves simultaneously when they saw this. Cause if it would have hit somebody in the face from that height, and I don't know the measurements, but I'm betting it's high enough to kill somebody. Anyways, another fan who had seen the shoe drop had bought him a brand new pair of shoes on stream, so.
Bro, thank you, bro. He got me a new pair of shoes!
As the crowds grew more intense, Speed and his team resorted to jumping on a stranger's boat to escape. The commotion eventually drew the attention of local law enforcement, and for some reason, Speed claimed to be related to soccer legend Cristiano Ronaldo when questioned by the police, saying, quote, "I'm like Ronaldo's son, basically, like, I swear to God, I got pictures." I guess when you're that famous, you can just sort of say what you want to the police. Following the incident, Speed went live again to address his fandom. He thanked the police for their assistance and expressed concerns about continuing to stream. This isn't the first time a streamer has faced such overwhelming public attention. I'm sure you remember back in 2023, fellow content creator Kai Cenat inadvertently sparked a riot in New York City, resulting in a $55,000 fine. So how do we stop this from happening? Is the nature of IRL streaming the problem? With fans stream sniping, riots springing up, and some of the more problematic personalities rising to prominence, which, by the way, there's been some fun band news going on about these geniuses over here, so you know, check that out if you got a minute. But what are your thoughts? Can we stop this? Let me know in them comments.
Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, is set to plead guilty to a felony charge in a deal with the U.S. Justice Department. This deal will allow him to walk free after a long legal battle. Assange left a British prison on Monday and will appear in a U.S. federal court in the Northern Mariana Islands later this week to finalize the plea.
Well, thank you, Alice. So it looks like Julian Assange is about to wrap up one of the most high-profile legal dramas in the last decade. Let's break it down, shall we? Assange, the man who turned classified information leaks into a global spectacle, is set to plead guilty to an Espionage Act charge. This particular charge is for conspiring to unlawfully obtain and disseminate classified national defense information. Mouthful. Now, Assange left a British prison and is now heading to the Northern Mariana Islands to avoid the continental US. He does seem to have a flair for dramatic geography. The plea agreement, which still needs a judge's nod, ends a saga that's taken us through embassies, courtrooms, and prison cells. For years, Assange was a hero to some and a villain to the others. WikiLeaks, his brainchild, exposed a lot of dirty laundry, particularly of the US military. Remember the 2007 Apache helicopter attack video? Yeah, that was WikiLeaks. Assange's upcoming plea will resolve his legal issues without additional jail time. The years he spent hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy and later in a British prison are going to count towards his sentencing. So he's essentially getting a time served kind of deal. He'll plead guilty and then likely head back to Australia. Assange's case has always been a bit of a thorny issue for press freedom advocates. They would argue that he's just doing what any journalist would or should do, exposing the truth. On the flip side, prosecutors claim his actions jeopardized national security. Even the Obama administration decided to pass on prosecuting him, fearing it would set a dangerous precedent. But the Trump administration took a different stance, making his arrest a priority. As the story develops, we should really think about the implications for journalism and the freedom of the press. Is Assange a whistleblower hero, or did he cross the line? This deal might close the book on his legal troubles, but the debate over his actions will likely rage on for years.
The Supreme Court has agreed to decide on whether states can restrict medical treatments for transgender minors. The case involves a Tennessee law that bans gender transition care for minors, and it has significant implications for transgender rights and the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause.
Well, it was gonna have to happen sooner or later, but yes, the Supreme Court has decided to weigh in on whether or not states can restrict medical treatments for transgender minors. Now, this isn't just a Tennessee thing like Alice was saying, it's just more prominent there right now. But about 24 states have hopped onto the train banning and restricting these types of treatments. And obviously, it stirred up legal battles across the country. Judges are playing legal ping pong with the issue, delivering conflicting rules faster than you can say a constitutional crisis. The High Court's ruling, expected in spring of 2025, could be a game changer. It's like we're waiting for the series finale of this particular legal drama, with the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause taking center stage. This clause guarantees equal treatment under the law, and depending on how it gets interpreted here, could impact everything from which bathrooms transgender individuals can use to what sports teams they can play on. So, you know, just like the small things people argue about. Nothing too important, right? The Justice Department is challenging the Tennessee law, arguing it doesn't provide equal treatment. They say the law bans medical therapies for gender dysphoria, but allows them for other conditions like delayed puberty. The Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals didn't necessarily buy that argument, though. Chief Judge Jeffrey Sutton wrote that the experimental nature of these treatments allow for different policy approaches, and that the Constitution does not pick a side on this debate. Meanwhile, Tennessee's Attorney General Jonathan Scaramucci, some guy, claims the law is about protecting kids from unproven treatment. There's that protecting kids thing again. I don't trust these people when they say it. But basically, he's trying to say let's not rush into the whole gender transition thing until we're absolutely sure it's safe. But on the other hand, U.S. Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar, too many big names here, argues that the law is a form of sex discrimination reflecting bias against transgender people. While some states are rolling out the red carpet for transgender healthcare, others are slamming the door shut. The Biden administration is all in on supporting transgender rights, while figures like Donald Trump are comparing these treatments to child abuse. Yeah, anyhow, what are your thoughts about medical procedures for transgender minors? Do you support their right to start treatment as a child? Do you think there should be rules and caveats? If so, what would you suggest? Or are you just outright against it? Again, let me know down below. And on that piece of, oh, this powder keg is so about to blow up news, I'm gonna call it. If you're one of the 10% that made it all the way to the end of the video, first, hey sexy, how you doing? Second, hit that like button and help spread some news. And well, I guess I'll just see you later. Bye.